Use the Force, Luke.
Live long and prosper.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Shut up and take my money.
By Grabthar's hammer, what a saving.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
X never, ever marks the spot.
Winter is coming. You're a wizard, Harry. Stay a while and listen.
Hey, old Kermit the Frog.
Your ties are cool.
So say we all.
This is a Play on Nerds.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls of all ages, to a very special episode of A Play on Nerds, episode 221, in fact.
Ooh.
And back for the 221st time, I'm Steve.
And I'm
This other guy is. Yeah. And this week, in honor of the much-anticipated Thunderbolts film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we want to recognize another assembled group of gritty heroes called on to save the day in less than regular manner. And of course, we're talking about the 1982 classic Megaforce.
Of course.
It is really a doozy, and I can't wait to tell you all about it.
Jeez.
But before we get to that gem, Jarman, what have you been up to since the last time we spoke?
Well, after 2 months after a car crashed in the front of our home, we finally have a front door again.
Nice.
They're not done with the construction, but they're able to do enough to have us at least be able to access our front door. It's pieced back together structurally. They just need to make it pretty now, so they're putting stucco up in the weeks to come and putting a new window in because the whole front window was smashed. But yeah, so we can walk out the front door, but it's been so long that we're forgetting we have a front door, so we're still exiting out the back.
Using the side, yeah.
We don't have a side door either, so it's all the way to the back of the house. And we get to the very front, we're like, oh God, we have a front door. Damn it. Taking out the trash, like I'm going around the back of the house. I'm like, oh, get a front door. God damn it. So take some time to get used to. And I started a new D&D campaign. It's all basically all the people from my old campaign who don't have kids yet, because everyone started getting kids progressively over time and dropping out of the group. And so now this one guy, he started the Curse of Strahd campaign.
Wow, that's a big one.
Yeah. So we're going to play it like during the week when we can, or in the weekends, but we have more free time because we're ones without kids. So we're playing that until that changes, until we get kids.
I have a friend who's on like year 4 of a Curse of Strahd campaign.
What?
So.
Oh God, I didn't think it went that high.
She is a little excessive, but still, it's impressive.
It was going to like level 8, I thought, or something, or level 8, 10.
Anything can happen in Barovia,
I guess. But yeah, I'm playing a fun character where I'm a druid, but he was never able to master the actual magic side of things. So he tried to do everything through science, achieve the druid spells through so the flavor is that he's really using potions to do the spells because he can't actually cast magic. But his spells get messed up because he uses some cursed materials. And so when he gets angry, he turns into a different form. So it's basically Jekyll and Hyde. And so he's this really prim and proper British man. And then all of a sudden he gets angry and all of a sudden I'm this guy again. All right. So, and that'll play out in like social situations. So like a -2 to his charisma, but like a +2 to strength, but it won't affect battle situations at all. But But also they're saying I can go into like bear mode and like transform into a bear in battle. I'm really transforming into Hyde. So it's kind of fun. Very Strahd based. But we've had 2 sessions so far, so we'll see where it goes.
Oh, very nice.
What about you, sir? What have you been up to?
Well, we had Easter break here. Anna's mom came in from California, and we just packed it full of stuff. We went to the zoo, which was very disappointing. There were only like 40% of the animals were out.
Why?
They're doing, so it's early spring, so they're doing a bunch of renovation projects. They're trying to all get done before like the summer, before their big busy time. And so because of that, there were so many enclosures under construction and enclosures with no animals in them. And it was just a very disappointing zoo walk. We took her on the Pittsburgh Incline, which if you think of a mix between an elevator and an escalator.
Okay.
An elevator on an escalator up the side of like a mountain, basically.
Kind of like a ski lift kind of deal.
Sort of. But it's how they used to get workers up and down to the waterfront. back in the day, and they're still available and working. They're crazy pieces of engineering and beautiful views of the city.
Nice.
We did a day up at camp and built a fire pit. We went on Easter Sunday. We went to Kennywood, our local theme park.
They're open.
And there was
That's
like
cool.
no one there. It was incredible. We jam-packed a lot of crap into this trip. We really
Sounds
did.
like it. You're probably tired after it was over.
I am tired. Well, that's what we've been up to, but what's been happening elsewhere on some nerdy news?
Ooh.
It's time for Nerdy News.
All right, my segment today is called Alien It Nice for a Change. So a professor called, I'm going to butcher this name and I apologize, Niku Madhusudan. There we go. Niku Madhusudan from Cambridge's Institute of Astronomy has used data from the James Webb Telescope to announce that they have within a 99.7% chance found life on a planet called K218b. This was big news in all the newspapers, but here's basically what they found. So they discovered signs of dimethyl sulfide and or dimethyl disulfide in its atmosphere, which is only found from the biosignatures from oceans with living organic material in them, such as on Earth. And it has a ton more than Earth does. Also, this planet is more than double the size of Earth. It's one of those super giant kind of planets. It's in the Goldilocks zone and all that jazz. And even though they know this with a near 100% certainty, they are waiting until the next window to study the data again to do it properly, where they have it independently confirmed. And then we'll know without a doubt that we've discovered another planet with life on it with pretty much 100% accuracy. Now, all we know so far is that it would have this biosignatures of organic material in the water, but that's only found on planets that would have life like Earth does. And so there's no way to determine if that life has only gone that far, if there's only microbial life there, or if it's gone just as far as we have. It could very well have intelligent life. It could have just amoebas slushing around like slugs, or just microbial. We have no idea until we focus more research on it. And now that if they confirm it, they'll have more funding to basically point everything at that planet, send signals, do whatever, more studies. But this would be gigantic if they just didn't say it's confirmed yet, but it's pretty much confirmed with 99% certainty. There's now we'd be able to say for the first time ever, we found life on another planet, which is pretty amazing. That hasn't been bigger.
Crazy.
But have you heard about this at all in the news or anything?
Yeah, I read all the headlines, didn't actually read anything. So
yeah, because I almost didn't either, because I was like, it's probably gonna be nothing. But then I read the article, they're like, nope, this is the real deal. There's no doubting this pretty much, but we're gonna have to confirm it. But it's pretty much there. It's like, what? But imagine this. It's only 100 light years away, which is far, but it's actually close in cosmic terms. It's actually pretty darn close planet for another solar system. If we found a way to travel at light speed, we could get there in 100 years, like a generational ship or something. So it's possible, but we still have to figure out how to go at light speed, which is a problem. So there is that. So that's
not only that, it would be 100 light year trip for the people making the trip, but with time dilation.
Oh yes,
back on Earth, 1,000 years would pass or
that's
more.
Very true.
During their dilated time transfer.
But
so
the reason I called it Alien It Nice for a Change is because we've got just so much crap going on in the world right now. It'd just be nice to have us all be distracted by just discovering alien life and kind of coming together as humanity. That'd be so nice for a change. But one day we'll see what happens. But I think that takes us to our main segment with Hope and Change with Megaforce.
Megaforce. Oh, man. What a gem. We get a voiceover confirming the existence of Megaforce, super able mercenaries equipped with crazy technology. And I honestly thought that they were the bad guys the way that they were being described. Yeah. Truly. Suddenly we're at a power plant and maybe a science center. I don't know. It's blown up by tanks, whatever it is. The bad guy is there and he's very pleased, and they can't stop his advances with his crazy line of tanks. We then meet like a proper British general Byrne White, an English gentleman, tasked with putting together a task force capable of counteracting the bad guy and his tanks. He heads to the desert with Zara, his assistant, maybe, but then there's a big reveal. She's a commander.
And the daughter of the president of the country they're from, I guess.
So they're out in the wilderness. She almost gets bit by a snake. A shot rings out, and it's this guy, Dallas, a hotshot hero with a cowboy hat who sees pretty ladies in mirages. They meet his wheelman, Zach, who just drives cars, I guess. Meanwhile, in a random control room somewhere, world maps and lights blink, tracking the truck as it travels further through the desert. All of a sudden, there's what appears to be a wasteland motorcycle gang. They pop wheelies and shoot missiles. Oh, but they're not bad guys. We get to meet Ace Hunter. He immediately hits on Zara, like within moments of being on screen together. They're trying to recruit him, and he leads them back to the ultra secret mountain base where we meet Egg, their R&D guy who develops all these crazy motorcycle missile launchers they drive. And then nothing happens for a really long time as we kind of like explore what Megaforce is. Commander Zara like makes herself dressed up all sexy for a military dinner, which was strange. Ace comes by, they touch hands while we wait for more of the movie to happen finally. The general tours the technology, including the stealth nose disappearing paint and a supercomputer with files on everyone. It's real weird with the tech they choose to show off here.
They never use that stealth paint again in the whole movie.
They also have files on the big bad guy, Guerrera, a classic rich baddie with tanks warlord, I guess. We finally get to the movie, Operation Hook, Line, and Sinker, where aircrafts are going to run a diversion while other aircrafts take out strategic locations. Then they lure the bad guy out and bust him, I guess, and arrest him. They're going to leave in 2 to 3 days. So not exactly a ticking time bomb situation.
48 to 72 hours.
I was like, wow, okay. So we just have a big window. Okay. We then watch an animated pig hologram. That happens. Now suddenly there's skydiving while easy listening horn music plays. Then we cut to a really bad blue screen with romantic parachutes over them. And finally the movie can continue. Suddenly Zara is wearing Sandy's costume from Grease and driving a tank simulator. But she still doesn't get to come on the mission because of sexism reasons. Even though they say it's not sexism reasons, it's sexism reasons. Suddenly it's mission day, 48 to 72 hours later.
48 minutes into the movie.
That is when I realized that we were only 40 minutes into this film. We travel by montage. In airplanes, Ace can't concentrate on the ultra secret high stakes mission because he's thinking about that Zara lady. They dive out of the plane, sending motorcycles and dune buggies. Megaforce is on the move. They attack the bad guys' tanks. It's very dark and incredibly difficult to see what is happening in this part of the film. They use a remote controlled buggy as a detonator, taking out the strategic positions. The movie came to, then I had to look this up. So this came out in 1982. If you see the quality of this movie, this came out the same year as E.T., Tron, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, Poltergeist, Time Bandits, Blade Runner, Creepshow, and The Thing. Just for reference, this movie came out the same year as
that kind of quality.
The bad guy escapes, or bad guy's henchman escapes and goes to warn the big bad guy. The plan is going just as they hoped, I guess. He seems pleased about it. So the henchman reports that he's found Megaforce's secret base, and then somehow Texas or Dallas summons the illusion of a woman that presumably only he could see, and he uses it to distract the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So Dallas has legitimate sorcerer powers, I guess.
Well, he plays as a hologram earlier.
But nobody else reacts to it earlier. The way it made it seem was that he was the only one that was seeing this crap.
I never thought that. The other people react to it at the beginning of the movie. They could see the lady.
I don't think so.
They're like, "What is that?" And then he talked about it.
Just then, a helicopter shows up, but they didn't call a medevac. It's Duke, some other character. And I went, why are they introducing a new character? And I was like, oh, it's the bad guy. Him and Ace are friends,
I guess.
Ace finds out he's been lied to, and the proper British general has used him to start a war with their little operation. Ace tries to talk to Zara, but she is ashamed of her part in this ruse. And Duke tells Ace that he's screwed since he can't get air transport out, and takes off because even though they're friends, he's still going to try to kill Megaforce.
That's why I texted Steve at this part, because I was so confused, because they played it terribly with horrible writing where it was very confusing, because it's like Guerrera or Duke arrives and he's obviously the bad guy, and all of his friends around him, the rest of Megaforce, are looking confused. And he's like, oh, he's my friend. And like, he must have known that was the bad guy they were going after.
Yeah.
So it was not explained at all. It was very confusing. He said earlier that he had a long history with him, but it sounded like a bad history. And then he never says he's not his friend. Like, it's very confusing. Anyways.
Back at the control center, their R&D sends them a plan. They're going to ambush the bad guy and pretend like the last scene just didn't happen. Megaforce is outnumbered. Dallas puts on the Southern flag, the Confederate flag on his thing. I was like, and it only gets worse from there. Megaforce attacks, driving their motorcycles and dune buggies. It's a shoot 'em up with Megaforce's smaller, faster vehicles maneuvering around the giant tanks. Dallas does like a sweet jump trick and throws a grenade directly into a tank. They make a run for their planes to evacuate with the bad guys hot on their trail. They rush to the plane, but Ace isn't there. He goes and confronts Duke, reminds him that the good guys always win. This was so weird.
Even in the 80s.
In the 80s, he knocks on his tank with a gun. The others wait nervously. The actors clearly did not have enough direction for how long the camera was on them. Ace catches up to the plane, but it's already taking off. It's off the ground. Ace deploys motorcycle wings and blasts off, taking flight onto a blue screen hell. It just kills the end of the film, as Barry Bostwick's only acting direction he received was clearly work the hair, kid. The bad guy stares in amazement, laughing at his own folly. He takes this incredibly well and is like, we'll see you again next time. The bad British general holds a press conference denying any knowledge of the operation as the plane swoops into view and Ace launches a rocket, destroying a military vehicle with no repercussion, I guess.
Yeah.
Zara thinks this is hilarious. Is this an act of war? Is the bad general brought up for treason? Is there like a sequel where Ace attends Zara's court-martial in international courts?
Nope.
Who knows? And then they loved the ending so much that they played it at the beginning and at the end of the credits. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing. And that was Megaforce. Wow.
Yeah.
So much movie happened. Okay. Some things I liked.
Mm-hmm.
There were some moments where the music was actually pretty good.
I put a painfully good / bad 80s music in there.
Yeah, really ranged.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
So
they liked their ending so much they played it twice. There were a few okay-ish actors in there. Barry Bostwick from Rocky Horror did what he could.
I put Persis Gambata, who played V'ger in the Star Trek movie.
Yeah, V'ger.
Yeah, she's hot as heck.
Michael Beck from The Warriors.
Oh.
It was directed, this is interesting, by a guy named Hal Needham, who was predominantly a stunt coordinator and driver for things like Cannonball Run, Smokey and the Bandit. And this is when I discovered that he also directed a direct-to-television movie series based on the Bandit franchise with the names of Bandit, Bandit Goes Country, Bandit, Bandit, Bandit.
Bandit.
I'm not kidding. It exists. Bandit, 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 Beauty and the Bandit, and Bandit, Silver Angel. So he directed all of those.
That's some creative stuff there. All in 1994.
So I'm not sure if those are good things about the movie. I was just amazed that existed.
Yeah, I basically saying this like A-Team on steroids. That'll give you a good idea of what this is, basically. And that it definitely had to be made for the toys alone. But yeah, I think I had two things. I had the painfully bad good music, and also the taglines were very 80s. Like they always had a tagline that they blew something up. V'ger was in there, but also I was like, I can't think of a third thing. I mean, like they had some good miniatures in there, some good miniatures that were blowing up. That was kind of cool. I could tell they were miniatures, but they were like, they worked hard on that. I'll give it to them. But that was the only good things I could really think of. So let's get into the bad things.
Everything else.
Yes.
The dialogue was so confusing, truly, between me literally thinking that Megaforce was the bad guys at the beginning, based on the description, only to find out they're the good guys, but then to find out that Ace is best friends with the main bad guy.
Yeah, unapologetically.
Kind of adversaries.
That's why the plot was confusing and unfulfilling because there's no main villain. It was all confusing. There's no main villain to go off of.
Well, also, once them developing Zara and then having like, you can't come because you got boobs. Like you just can't come. And then there was a moment in it where he was like kind of in trouble and they're like, who's that coming in? And I was like, oh, it's going to be Zara to save the day and prove that she deserved to be there.
Yeah.
And then that was just the bad guy coming in to reveal him and Ace were best friends. Oh, what the hell?
Hello, Ace. Good to see you. Duke. I hate that there's not a single person is seen dying in all of those explosions.
That is true.
And there's no hand-to-hand combat. Everything was just meaningless explosions blowing up things we didn't care about. And I was just like, what the hell's going? How much money they spent on dynamite just for no reason? So many cliches, and everyone talked in jokes. Like they took nothing seriously. It's like you're talking about going to war, and like everyone's making jokes the whole time. I'm like,
well, then once again, not only that, just the 48 to 72 hours was like the most non-consequential amount of time.
That's right. There's no urgency whatsoever.
We have time to go skydiving and be sexist.
Just a really poorly put together movie. And it makes more sense that they hired a director who's just good at stunt work, because this movie is just all about motorcycle stunts and blowing shit up. And there was no idea of how to make an actual plot in a film that matters. It makes any sense whatsoever.
No, and I looked up all the writers. None of the writers really did it. Like they did this and a couple other things. But
that makes sense.
No one really saw major success anywhere.
They're now real estate agents, probably.
So I'm not like Megaforce is nuts, but not even in like a super fun way, kind of in a mundane, boring way.
Yeah, it's slow at times. And like I had to fast forward once that plane took off for 2 minutes, and I was like, I don't care. The plane takes off. Go. Like, what am I watching? So some trivia for this movie. The movie had no credited costume designer. All the clothes were designed by the toy company Mattel. Go figure, because they're trying to make toys off this bitch. Matt Stone and Trey Parker of South Park fame are admitted fans of this movie, and they used it as part of the basis for Team America World Police. which also makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely see that.
Part of a $50 million slate of films from Golden Harvest Studios that aimed at breaking into the Western market, because they're, I think, from China. Their other movies include High Road to China, The Cannonball Run, The Protector, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990. Same people who made that. The cars and motorcycles were designed by a guy named William Frederick, who worked on Hooper in 1978. He delivered them 8 months after they asked for them, and they cost $1 million, and they all worked. They were working real motorcycles. Mattel produced a Vertibird, that plane that they use, and Hot Wheels playsets based on the Megaforce theme, hoping this was going to be a big success. But the film only made $3 million at the U.S. box office against a $20 million budget. So, whoopsie. A video game for the was based on the film and was released in 1982 for the Atari 2600. There are screenshots I found. It looks terrible. You can barely tell what's going on in that game either. Hal Needham, that you mentioned earlier, the director, he fell off a motorcycle during filming because he wanted to be in the movie too, and he broke several ribs. There was a sequel planned called Deeds, Not Words, which is like their tagline for Megaforce. They have it on their badges and shit. But it was scrapped due to the poor performance of this film. According to an interview with the composer of this film, Jared Immel, he asked Carly Simon to write and perform lyrics to the love theme that's heard during the skydiving scene, that slow-ass song that was boring as hell.
Yeah.
Carly considered it, but she ultimately declined, so the song remained an instrumental. So it could have had Carly Simon singing words to that. After this film, Barry Bostwick did not play in another theatrical film until 1993, 11 years later. That film was Weekend at Bernie's 2. So this film messed up his career for 11 years. In the romantic silhouette scene, Steve sent me a little shot of this. Basically, the two actors are silhouetted in front of this like blue, orange, or purple light. Between Commander Hunter and Major Zara, Barry Bostwick used his right hand to briefly cast a shadow, which resembled his genitals in profile. Asked at the time, he claimed it was accidental, but in a 2004 interview with a magazine, he admitted that it had been intentional, and it was a slight towards the director, Hal Needham, with whom he was involved in an unprofitable Ponzi scheme at the time. So he was pissed at him for getting him involved in some Ponzi scheme, so he just did that to screw with the director.
It's noticeable, folks.
It looks exactly like a penis.
I took a screenshot immediately and sent it to Jeremy.
I didn't even see it until after I watched the movie, and I saw your screenshot, but I didn't see what you're pointing out, and I was like, oh, that's a dick. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, definitely.
You can actually find the screenshot if you search for it on Google. People have made it before, so it's there. But Steve, I think you have a little bit for us.
Oh boy, do I. All right. So I'm going to call this one Mega Force Together. Where if you want to look at the note, I have 4 lists.
Okay.
Of various character types: cartoon, popular protagonists, celebrity chefs, and then mascots. And I'm going to give you some big quest scenarios from popular movies. You're going to know them when I say them. And I want you to pick one from each category to put onto a super team to deal with that problem.
All right.
And why.
Sounds good.
All right. So right now you're about to assemble the 4 characters or people that will make their way across a dinosaur-infested Jurassic Park and reset the generators to get the park back online while dodging raptor attacks.
Okay.
Who are you taking?
So from the cartoons, immediately, if I'm resetting generators, I'm taking Homer Simpson because he works in a power plant, so he knows what to do.
Yeah,
he pushes the button.
He knows the buttons.
That's right. With our protagonist list we have here, oh my gosh, there's some good ones. But we're going with dinosaurs here. So who else is really good at escaping large creatures? And getting away from them or killing them is Luke Skywalker. He's really good at that.
Okay. Yeah. Sarlacc and the Rancor. I get it.
Absolutely. And who can make food out of anything because they are just, they're in it for the taste, not for, cuisine. And you're on a long journey. You want that celebrity chef. You want Guy Fieri. to go along with it.
Diners, drive-ins,
Dives. Come on. Let's make
We're
some
going to
dinosaur
check out
meat.
a little diner here on Jurassic Park.
You haven't seen a Stegosaurus burger until you've had one of mine, man. And for our mascots, as we're going along, these dinosaurs, we want one of their kindred spirits. We're getting the Geico Gecko.
Fair. He's there to act as your interpreter.
Exactly. I think we're going to make it.
All right. Well done. That's a good super team. All right. Next, I want you to assemble the group that will travel back in time to save Sarah Connor and prevent the robot apocalypse.
Wow. That is rough.
I know, right?
So we're going back in time.
You can't use anyone you've used.
All right. Okay. Looking at my list here. I think we're going to need to short out some of these Terminators coming after us. So for the cartoons, we're going Pikachu.
Ooh, that's actually a good call.
Use that electricity, knock some of them out. For protagonists, we want to be able to walk amongst the people. So we're going back in time, and we want to be a good, almost like we're secret agents. So we want to be like James Bond. He's going to teach us our skills about being incognito. Okay. You know what I mean? So James Bond's going to be there.
I like that.
For some reason, celebrity chefs are here, which is so weird. So Alton Brown is actually a scientist chef. So he actually knows his science. I'm taking Alton Brown along for this journey. He'll be able to figure out some ways he could blow up some food if he wanted to.
Yeah, it's true.
And to cheer us on along the way and to maybe kill some Terminators as well, we're taking Captain Crunch. He's just going to bust him down.
Hey, he's a military man.
Exactly. He knows what he's doing. He'll be the commander of the bunch.
Okay. And next, I want you to assemble the group that will return the ring to Mordor and cast it into Mount Doom, bringing it into Sauron's grip on Middle-earth for all time.
Fair. Okay, so somebody who can survive anything, but while they're exploring, is going to be Dora the Explorer. She's going to find her way there the fastest. Keep in mind, folks.
She got Mappy. She got backpack.
That's right. Good. She speaks many languages, maybe just 2. I don't know. These are from a list that Steve has given in front of me.
I love this.
I'm not going to go with Frodo Baggins because he's on the list of protagonists.
I wasn't sure if you were going to go obvious.
Yeah, I don't want to go obvious. So we want someone who can go through multiple terrains, can take out people with the weapons of the time. That's Katniss Everdeen right there.
Oh, bow and arrow?
Yeah, she's got it covered. And you just want somebody to keep the spirits up because it's really depressing on the way to Mordor. So you want Rachel Ray as your celebrity chef. She's just a positive attitude.
You're not going to have time to cook 30-minute meals.
30-minute meals. She's got that positive attitude. She's really bubbly. It's great. And for our mascot, this is I got it perfect. You watch Lord of the Rings. They're always tired. They're run down. They can't get there because they're running out of energy. You want the Energizer Bunny pushing you along.
It keeps going and going and going. Okay. All right. So finally, you're going to put together the group that will make their way through the tomb holding the Holy Grail, but there will be traps and Nazis along the way.
Oh, goodness. That is dangerous. Well, someone who's familiar with Nazis because they were created right around the time that Nazis were around is Bugs Bunny. And he's very resilient. Okay. He's very ingenuitive. He can set traps for those Nazis. He can beat any trap you put towards him. I mean, he's always fooling the, duck season.
He is a wascally wabbit.
He's a wascally wabbit. And I'm not going to pick Indiana Jones because that's on the protagonist list. He's already there.
Fair.
But I'm going to pick somebody he's gone through all of history. He seems to always survive no matter what happens. And he's just a positive force. And if anyone's innocence can get us through the traps that are there for the Holy Grail, it's Forrest Gump.
Yeah. He'll do anything to get to Jedi.
And he'll pick up the right cup automatically because he's just like that. He's so lucky. He has like a 25 luck roll, basically.
Yeah, the old knight's like, choose wisely because one, and he's already got a cup up to his mouth.
How did you pick the right cup?
I was real thirsty.
Oh, God. See, it makes perfect sense. And who do we want? Who's going to be the tough guy in this scenario? Because not Mickey Mouse, but Bugs Bunny's goofing around. Forrest Gump isn't going to be scary. We want someone who can intimidate those Nazis. That's Gordon Ramsay, right there.
Gordon Ramsay, proper British gentleman.
And for our mascot to get us the Holy Grail out of this place and to not mess it up. But you also need a way of getting out of that cave and out of those territories. You need a good old fashioned Kool-Aid man.
Just busting through walls to get them out there. Oh, yeah.
You don't need to worry about the path they laid for you or the penitent man will pass. No, fuck that. Kool-Aid man, straight through the wall.
Well, I can get on board with that.
Oh,
all right.
God.
Well, thanks for playing Megaforce together.
That was fun. Thank you very much. And that brings us to some Radical Recommend.
If you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up.
What do you recommend I do?
I recommend Pleasant.
All right, so my journey through the old shows on my list has continued. Now I'm just basically kind of going through this really comfy journey of all these sci-fi shows in the 2000s that are just, they went on for like 5-6 seasons each, it seems. And they have like weekly mysteries or weekly sci-fi conundrums that come up. Like I watched Haven, the last recommendation. And now I'm watching Eureka, which was a pretty popular show on Sci-Fi Channel back in the day. I never watched it. It's 5 seasons, and I'm about halfway through right now, and it's just delightful. It's this little town that the government funds and puts all their best scientists to live in this town to just basically gives them free reign to discover things and do scientific experiments. And they have this U.S. Marshal who accidentally ends up there with his daughter, and they put him in charge of being the sheriff of the town. So he's an average intelligent guy, but he has to kind of wrangle in all these crazy scientists and make sure they don't kill each other by accident. And, you know, strange accidents happen and strange science occurs, and he has to kind of rein it all in. And it's just a joy. It's just a silly, fun show, and I highly recommend going back and finding it. Eureka. Did you ever watch that back in the day, Steve?
I feel like I watched 2 seasons of that, and then I feel like it was one of those things where I don't think Anna liked it very much.
Oh, that's fair.
So because of that, it fell off for me. It was easier not to fight about Eureka.
That's fair. That's why I'm watching it by myself, because it's not a show my wife's going to want to watch with me, because it's just kind of meh. It's just one of those shows. It's a filler, but it's fun. It's light. And so if you need that in your life, I recommend it. But that brings us to some trailer reviews.
Trailer reviews. Well, this week I chose the very exciting and much anticipated by someone, Tron Ares, the continuation of the Tron legacy, where it looks like sort of the plan that was hinted at in the earlier Tron films of merging the digital world with ours have finally come to fruition. Jared Leto finally made it happen, and are bringing some of the elements, the big cruiser ships and the light bikes into our reality, and what happens when those worlds collide.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting premise that we're going to get to see, like, oh, someone finally succeeded at the thing the bad guys were trying to do for 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I don't, you know,
that's what I wrote down. Number 1, who asked for this? Number 2, who asked for Jared Leto? That's basically like,
is true.
Who wants this? It's been years since Tron Legacy. And so was he the villain in the Tron Legacy one? I can't remember. Or was
I don't even think he was in it.
He was in some movie around that time. I thought it was this one. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, it was just. He
was in Blade Runner. You're probably thinking of Blade Runner.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yep.
Where he was like the quasi villain.
Yep. And it's like he doesn't change his appearance for any movie he's in. He won't shave, won't cut his hair. So it just looks like Jared Leto in every movie. I don't believe anything he's doing. And like, he's not a hot commodity after that vampire movie flopped. So it's like, why him? But I did hear, what's his face? Jeff Bridges' voice. So that's pretty cool. Maybe he's back in it somehow.
Yeah, maybe. I don't have super high hopes for this movie. I'm with you. I don't know who they're targeting.
Yeah.
With it, their target audience is getting older. It looks a little darker than the previous ones. Maybe that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Is give Tron that gritty feel everyone's been looking for.
10 years ago.
Yeah, because there's been no movies that have had that view that have come out.
Gillian Anderson's in it, so that's something. I like her.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That counteracts a Jared Leto.
A little bit, yeah.
Nearly a full Jared Leto.
The music's done by the Trent Reznor again, so that's going to be pretty cool. Well, last time it was Daft Punk. Now it's Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails. So I think I prefer the Daft Punk, but yeah.
All right, so I'm going to give this one, it's like the middle of the night. It's like 2 a.m. Raul Julia shoots upright out of bed. his car alarm is going off. He fumbles to get his slippers on. He walks over where his pants are hanging. He reaches in the pocket, trying to grab the keys. That's the wrong fucking pocket. He's got to turn around, get in the other pocket, grabs the keys, finally hits the button, and walks outside to go see what has happened. And it's one of those big, crazy, like H-shaped ships that we saw in this preview. And one arm of it has landed on his car that is just crushed and mangled. Its horn's still going off. And a little window slides open up in the pilot seat. And Gary Busey pops out and goes, "Hey, Raul, I'm up here. Look what I found." I was like, what do you mean you found it? "Yeah, it was just in the park. I found it. Can I keep it?" And I was like, I guess.
But somehow he drove it. That's
and
impressive.
Raul finally turns off his car alarm and then goes back inside, and you hear the door lock as he goes inside.
I'm just impressed with Gary Busey. He thought out how to drive that thing.
That's right.
I give this movie. Gary's getting concerned because Raul has been missing in the evenings late, and he comes back late every night, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And finally, Raul comes home one night and says, "Gary, I have a surprise for you, a gift." And he's like, "Oh, really? I love gifts." And so he pulls into the house this thing under a big cover, but he's pulling it in on these casters and the wheels, and he unveils it, and it's an arcade machine. And he's like, "This is for you, Gary. Enjoy." And Gary's like, "I love arcade and video games. I'm so good at them." And he goes over there and he puts in a quarter, even though he doesn't need to. It's like covered in peanut butter, whatever. And so he starts playing the video game, and all of a sudden he just gets sucked into the video game. And Raul's like, "I've been making that machine for weeks, and now finally I am rid of you, Gary. You're stuck in the video game world."
That's why Tron was developed.
Just for Gary Busey's imprisonment.
Just for Gary Busey.
And that's how he became super intelligent and becomes Jared Leto down the line.
That's how that happened.
Yeah, that's how it worked. But that brings us to the end of episode 221 of A Play on Nerds. Please join us next time, where it's going to be such an amazing episode that we can't even tell you about it. It's a big secret.
That's right. It's so big, I haven't even wrapped my head around it yet.
I haven't wrapped a pen and paper or a keyboard around it because I haven't written anything down. So,
or a bow, rubber band, nothing's been wrapped.
Nothing. So yeah, join us next time for that.
Come on back and be our nerdy audience. We'll come on back and be your nerdy co-hosts. Thanks again, Internet.
Stay nerdy, my friends. Thanks for listening to A Play on Nerds. Feel free to email feedback at aplayonnerds.com with all your questions or comments.
Shoot us a message on Facebook or Twitter and earn yourself a sweet shout out on the show.
Review us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts so even more nerds can find us. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, we aren't picky.
Check out our entire back catalog and other offerings at aplayonnerds.com.
And how?